Morning, morning, good morning, morning. I wanna share my love, but it's gotta be with someone who's precious. You're never gonna get my love, accepting that you're real, real precious. You're never gonna cramp my style, baby, cause I get a lot of pleasure. And if you wanna test my style, you better have a whole lot of measure. Cause I'm a rock back chick, never tag along, and never look back chick. Trendy, a little crazy, intelligently singing rock back chick. No sticks, no stones, or any kind of weapon don't belong here. I don't wanna break no bones, I just want a microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning, good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Morning, morning, good morning, morning. I just want the microphone. Morning, I just want the microphone. Morning, morning. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. This world is getting so cold, I wanna keep running like a soldier. Somebody must have touched my soul, cause there ain't no stopping till it's over. I wanna get up out my chair, cause everybody's getting so lazy. Don't want nobody touch my hair, cause a lot of sisters acting too crazy. And them not tough like this, rough like this, and them not nice like this. Some can't take it when you talk true sense, rather hear the words I glorify nonsense. Yes, and I got my brains, and I'm pretty like my mama. I don't wanna pick your brains, I just want the microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. I wanna share my love, but it's gotta be with someone who's precious. You're never gonna get my love, accepting that you're real, real precious. You're never gonna cramp my style, baby, cause I get a lot of pleasure. And if you wanna test my style, you better have a whole lot of measure. Cause I'm a rock back chick, never tag along, and never look back chick. Trendy, a little crazy, intelligently singing rock back chick. No sticks, no stones, or any kind of weapon don't belong here. I don't wanna break no bones, I just want a microphone. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning, good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers. It's 7 a.m. and this is the Tobago Updates morning show coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. As we continue to give God thanks for life, I am Julian Skeet.
And I am Maria Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning to Tobago, good morning Trinidad, those of you in the Caribbean, and those of you viewing us on the live, good morning, good morning. It's a beautiful Friday, TGIF. TGIF, yes, Julian.
Yes. Indeed, as you're rightfully saying, thank God it's Friday.
Yes.
Indeed. Whether you're in Tobago, you're in Trinidad, you're in the region or the world at large, we are generally happy that it is Friday. Friday the 13th of May.
Oh, definitely.
That kind of time where you just look forward to the weekend ahead.
Definitely.
All right, and given
I'm
that
looking forward to
given that it's May, we know we got some celebrations coming up a little later on in this beautiful month of May in 2022.
We're never going to hear the end of it. Every single
Perhaps
day.
not until the end of May. All right, viewers, at this point we head on into news in 90 seconds with Denicia.
Thank you, Julian. Here's the news in 90 seconds. Despite promises to announce a committee for the Tobago Carnival, the Secretary of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Tasha Burris, is yet to do so. Last week, Burris told Tobago Updates that a press conference will be held by the end of this week to share the details. The media is yet to be informed of any such press conference. Carnival stakeholders, however, are growing concerned that no information other than the dates for the Tobago Carnival has been released to the public. They say time is running out to capture interested patrons and business collaborations. Meanwhile, some of Tobago's agriculture products will soon be available for sale in Grenada. Secretary for Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainability, Natisha Charles Panton, posted on her Facebook page that TADCO has signed off on a deal with Grenadian conglomerate Huggins to put at least 3 of Tobago's products on their shelves. These products are cassava waffle mix, plantain pancake mix, and dasheen cereal. They will be available on Grenadian shelves in 2 to 3 months' time. Charles Panton says she is very proud of this achievement as TADCO is on the path to taking its gluten-free plant-based breakfast options to the world. Meanwhile, a man has confessed to the killing of 2-year-old Kamani Francis. The man reportedly walked into the Point Fortin police station at 12:45 p.m. yesterday and confessed to killing the child. Police said he did not identify the child by name or gender, nor provided details about the murder. The man is said to be an outpatient of the psychiatric clinic and lives in Teacher Village, Point Fortin, not far away from the home of the toddler. Police detained the man and are continuing investigations. Kamani wandered away from his home on Monday. The toddler's body was then found the next day in a river following a massive search. An autopsy is yet to be conducted. That was the news in 90 seconds. Back to you, Julian.
There, Denicia, for news in 90 seconds here on the Tobago Updates morning show. Really interesting developments once again happening with regards to the gentleman now presenting himself as responsible for, in terms of the responsible for Kamani. Wow.
I tell you, it's very interesting, and I'm wondering if he's just not looking for some attention here, but you never know. But of course, I'm hoping here that the police do investigate thoroughly what he's saying and, of course, the entire case, because it is pretty concerning. I know initially we thought that Kimani simply drowned. Of course, this is in the court of public opinion here, all right? But, we're hearing now this gentleman coming forward indicating that he was responsible. So I'm really hoping that there is a thorough investigation done into, to be able to determine, what really caused Kimani's death.
Yeah, definitely something that we or to pay attention to and looking into. And we also have very active in the discourse right now in the Tobago space. Responses coming from the minority leader as well as from the political leader of the Tobago Council in relation to the most recent note regarding those management officers of the CPEP program who would have contracts. There would have been some changes or restructuring which led to some persons, at this point, some of the positions will not be continued, most obviously, which would lead to a case where everyone will not be retained under the circumstances. So that's another topical area currently happening. Of course, this discourse, we would have had the presentation by Secretary Pastor Terence Baines, giving a sense of what the decisions were coming out of the Executive Council meeting in terms of making the change. But what I found very interesting, going a little further, in terms of what would have been presented is, interesting enough, utilizing the change or the adjustment, so to speak, in terms of less management positions, meaning more monies for the hundreds of CPEP workers who currently fall within the daily paid component. Very interesting. Sometimes we see the restructuring, but we don't always see those changes in dollars and cents for those who are on the on the average side to be able to benefit. So again, that's a commitment we definitely want to hold the Executive Council to ensuring that those hundreds within the CPEP program as daily paid workers are really able to benefit financially from the current discussion surrounding this restructuring.
All right, and certainly we will hear more about it. Of course, we hear the political leader of the People's National Movement, Ansel Dennis, indicating here, that a lot of lies are being spewed, a lot of lies are being told on the CPEP program. So we're going to get some more information on that, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So viewers, at this point, we head on in where we've got a very long list of birthdays today. It's May.
It's May,
and we got a long list of birthdays today on the lineup. All right, where do we get started this morning? Surprise us, folks. Surprise us there with the technical team. Where do we get started this morning? All right, who is this lovely young lady here on set with us? So
this is Joanne Thomas celebrating her birthday today. Now, if you know anything about Joanne, she goes all out for birthdays. There are a couple of pictures before. A few years ago, she celebrated with Lieutenant Stitchy, King Stitchy out of Jamaica. He came all the way in from Jamaica to be here to celebrate her birthday. So she's celebrating today. I'm not sure where she's off to. It's Joanne. Expect anything. So happy birthday going out to you, lad, my dear. Lots of love. Right. And this is Darren Batiste. Darren celebrating her birthday. Happy birthday going out to you, and love from the Tobago Updates family. All right, so this is Rondell, aka Wiggy. Wiggy celebrating his birthday. Love going out to you from the Tobago Updates family, Wiggy. Hope you have a good one. And we know this guy here. This guy is none other than Ted Jones. Oh, Edward Jones, Ted Jones. Love to you, Teddy.
Right, and we're also seeing on the lineup here this morning Dr. Anroy Otley, all right, out there representing us in the medical field, doing excellent work. We want to wish you a happy birthday. I have to say, from the Tobago Updates family, as well as from Laverne and Vernris and the entire family. Auntie Purvis, your mom, and the entire family out there, wishing you a happy birthday, Anroy Otley. All right, birthday greetings going out also to my very good friend Kimoy John. Kimoy, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Again, another Mayborn I've celebrated with over the years, and we trust that you will continue to enjoy the celebrations today into the weekend, in fact. Wishing you a happy birthday. And we got on our lineup this morning. Where do you remember this young lady from yesterday? Renessa Ortez.
That's right.
Renessa Ortez. We
celebrating today.
Yes, celebrating a birthday. Birthday celebrations again, and we want to wish Vanessa Ortez a happy birthday, and we know that she's going to have an enjoyable one indeed. I can see you in that outfit.
I'm loving it. I'm loving this as well.
All right, wishing Vanessa Ortez a happy birthday. We know that you're going to have an enjoyable one. Let it not stop today. Head on into the weekend. It's May. It's May 2022, and that's how we celebrate in May.
That's right.
All right.
So and a quick message coming in here from Whitfield Turner. His wife Charlene Frederick Turner is celebrating her birthday today.
Nice. Nice.
Didn't Whitfield just celebrate?
Yes, Whitfield just celebrated. And I want to send birthday shout out. Yes, my very good friend there, Charlene Frederick Turner. Trust that you have an enjoyable birthday celebration. Again, another May celebration. Well, this must be a great kind of combination with Whitfield and Charlene. Both celebrating in the month of May. The best month of the year indeed, folks. I know that all may not agree, but we'll have to agree to disagree on this one. All right. Thank you so much again, viewers, for the continued love and support that we continue that we see you out there each and every day, even as we connect day by day. Where we even bounce up in places in Uptown Scarborough, and then there are viewers who tune in and remind us, hey, tomorrow is don't forget in the lineup of birthdays, you know. So we want to thank you so much for that assistance and the continued love and support. This morning, Rhea, we got one of the big boys in the early segment.
Yeah, you're definitely chilling with the big boys this morning. Definitely chilling with the big boys. So coming up on the program this morning, we will be chatting with Assemblyman Trevor James, trying to find the rundown to him.
And that's Secretary with responsibility for the Division of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development. And we're going to be chatting on the new marina for Tobago and updates on the new international airport. Quite recently, we know we'd have gotten some information in the news, and we're really looking forward to getting the details and the clarity here coming from Secretary Trevor James coming up in the next segment. So viewers, this is your chance. Those of you tuned in via TV, those of you tuned in via radio, those online with us, thank you so much. And this is the point where on Facebook we want to remind you this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Soldier, somebody must have touched my soul, cause there ain't no stopping till it's over. I wanna get up out my chair, cause everybody's getting so lazy. Don't want nobody touch my hair, cause a lot of sisters acting too crazy, and I'm not tough like this, tough like this, and I'm
everywhere. Feel the vibe, cause it's something to share. Smooth, rich and creamy, you'll find it right here. Makes you smile, relax a while, it's fun and good cheer. Ooh, enjoy every scoop. Ooh, every taste will get you hooked. We have flavors that you love, a combination special. Come along, enjoy our treats. This is Uncle Pete's.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back. It's 7:15 a.m. And just before we head on into this segment, we just want to add in two more birthdays there in the lineup. Yes, this is the image that follows the celebration for Charlene Frederick Turner. All right, wishing you a happy birthday. We trust that you have an enjoyable one straight into the weekend, Charlene. All right, and this is my cousin out there in the States, Sastry O'Connor. All right, we trust that you have an enjoyable birthday coming from the entire family, Sastry O'Connor. And we know how to celebrate. And of course, it's the month of May. All right, viewers, at this point, we head on into discussions with Assemblyman Trevor James, Secretary for the Division of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development. And this morning, we're chatting on the topic of the new marina and updates on the new international airport. Morning to you, Secretary.
Pleasant good morning, Julian. Happy to be here. And good morning, Tobago and Trinidad and the Tobago diaspora, wherever we are.
All right, excellent. So as we get started this morning, we want to begin the conversation hitting the nail on the head immediately. We would have heard recent conversations, announcement coming out by NIDCO in relation to the marina project that is scheduled to take place in Tobago. Some have put information out there saying this was a prior arrangement and agreement with the former administration within the Tobago House of Assembly having been launched here, etc. What is the update as at now in relation to the current administration being brought up to speed, yourself as Secretary, the Chief Secretary, in relation to this project that is set for Tobago?
Julian and Tobago, we have struggled for years for the little autonomy that we have. And this is another attempt to erode that autonomy and give responsibility back to Trinidad. As far as the information available in the THA, there's been no agreement from the THA and the government. There's been no agreement with the THA and NIDCO to pursue this project. That is information from all the documents we've been able to peruse. And the project, therefore, is premature at best, and at worst, it is high-handed.
So what do you suspect, or let me ask, probably put it this way. What is the approach of the THA going to be in this matter? Because we see a situation where NEDCO has indicated that they are operating based on the directives and guidance coming out from central government in terms of, I suppose that's their charges or their line of reporting. How does the THA propose to deal with it at this stage in terms of communication, follow-up, being able to make some progress with regards to this matter, to know what's happening, for the obvious reason that the THA remains responsible as the governmental agency here for Tobago?
Julian, that's the critical point. The law that exists today specifically gives the Tobago House of Assembly and therefore the government of Tobago the responsibility for everything on land and 6 nautical miles at sea. Everything. The NIDCO, and we have to be clear in Tobago, this is not the NIDCO acting. This is the government acting. NIDCO is a line board, a line entity from the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Works and Transport. When they take instructions from the Ministry of Works. So this is in fact a Ministry of Works trying to build a project in Tobago and circumventing the law, circumventing the THA and the will of the people of Tobago. This is not going to happen. We have written, the Chief Secretary has instructed the State Council to write NIDCO and to write the Ministry of Works and Transport to put a stop to this project. And in any case, we have control over the AMA in Tobago and control over town country planning. And so this project will not progress.
I want to get it clear from the standpoint of this current administration. Is it that the current administration is against or opposed to a marina in the Tobago space?
Absolutely not. We believe that our geographical location, it is advantageous for us to have marinas. These are things that should have been done not now, but years ago. The North Caribbean are exposed directly to hurricanes over the years. Insurance premiums for vessels docked there over the winter season is high. And so vessels and vessel owners are looking for ports to house their vessels over winter. Chagaramas is full, and therefore Tobago remains again a location where we can benefit just because of our geographical location, and we intend to pursue that. As a matter of fact, the division that I head is putting out an expression of interest for marina at Kings Bay. And that we will pursue, and I'm sure we will have a better design at Kingsway.
All right, great, excellent. And that's where we're heading into now. So we understand, just as you mentioned there, in terms of the focus being on one of the marinas being in the Kingsway area. Give us a little more insight into, why it is felt that that area is, definitely a primary spot within the Tobago space.
Well, Kingsway is a naturally sheltered harbor. It's an opportunity for us to build out a whole marine sector in Tobago in the east, to probably convert Roxborough Sec into a campus that treats with marine issues. It's an opportunity to build an industry in the east to bring commerce and further tourism activity in the east. And we believe that we've been through this with Magdalena, with Hilton come Magdalena, and the challenges associated there with maintenance and upkeep and that. Another ill-fated project, again, decided from Trinidad against the protests of Tobagonians back in those days to build the Hilton in that location. Today, we've spent millions and millions of dollars trying to protect it and upkeep it. We have been asked now, we have a tender out now for revetment to protect erosion at Hilton, while the government is attempting to sell it. And so we have to understand in Tobago that our input into the management of the space that we have is critical, and that no person outside of Tobago should have the authority to just walk in and do what they want. And this has been going on for too long.
All right. And just clarify for us, you spoke to in terms of inviting for the submission of proposals. Will that come out within the month of May here?
In your birth month, Julian? Yes, it will be up next week.
Right.
And we have already have interest, and we wait to see, how much interest we have and how we will design the RFP going forward.
There is definitely a trend that is being highlighted. Whether you're speaking of the Marriott project, whether you're speaking of the marina, you just referred there again in terms of another initiative where there appears to be the constant overlooking or probably stepping past the current administration in the Tobago space. What do you feel is the broader solution that is required as we move forward? And I know I'm probably moving out of your realm a little bit as secretary, but
fine.
as part of
That's
the policymakers,
fine.
it is
That's
important
fine.
for you to also have a perspective there.
That's fine.
Where do you feel we need to get to?
It is not, Julian, this administration. This has been a time immemorial problem where governments in Trinidad, both UNC and PNM governments in Trinidad, continue to attempt to derail the THA Act and to usurp whatever authority they believe they have from Trinidad. We remember Carlos John coming to Tobago and paving roads, and the administration at the time trying to stand up against it, and the police coming from Trinidad to stop it, to move them away. This is not a new thing. What has happened in the last 5 years, though, is almost as if backroom deals are being made between the government in Trinidad and the government in Tobago at the time. And so there was apparently no need for legal arrangements to be put on paper, because maybe it was an instruction that, listen, we are going to do this, keep yourself quiet and hush him out. But the time for that has come to an end.
It's a little more difficult to do that now.
If
that were the case.
I would hope so. But, going forward, there is a need for collaboration, no doubt. There is need for us to find ways to entreat the governance structure that we have, and to come up with a way of financing the infrastructure that we need. The governments in Trinidad in the past have seemed reluctant to give us more than this 4.03, while promising us if we support a bill, it'll give us 6.8. The law today allows for them to give us 6.9. So, we need to start a conversation in Tobago around what our resources are, what our true contribution to the GDP is, and whether the resources gained from our EEZ should in fact be attributed to what we contribute. And that's the discussion, that the wider discussion of how we finance our infrastructural development, which we are in dire need of. That's a discussion that probably will come out in the budget presentation.
All right. And would you, I think quite naturally, you would have been one of those very critical in terms of putting that forward during the campaign period. And I think it helps to give persons a sense of what is really within our waters and so on. Are we likely to see, or would you certainly be encouraging, that those are some of the things that come out when we speak to the budget from the standpoint of the Tobago House of Assembly, making a greater representation as to where the input of Tobago is?
Absolutely. This budget will be interesting. It will be presented in in a different manner, because we intend to demonstrate that despite the statement of the Prime Minister that we only contribute, what, 200 million is what he said?
Huh.
We intend to demonstrate clearly to the people of Tobago and the people of Trinidad what our true contribution to the coffers of the government has been over the last 20 years, and what it is last year, and what it will be this year, especially given the increase in natural gas and oil prices recently, which will continue if Russia holds its hand for another few years. And so we need to benefit from all this. You know, we talk about expenditure in Tobago and limiting us to 300 million of borrowing locally. We have projects in Trinidad, my brother, where the government decided to has spent up to $5 billion to connect Point 14 and Superior to San Fernando. 20,000 people, 60,000 people to connect that to San Fernando. Upwards of $5 billion to date, and still counting. That's the infrastructure that they build from the resources, if I can boldly say, from Tobago. And we need to come to an understanding in the country that that cannot continue.
In terms of certainly, and folks, I know here I would have taken him outside of the realm of infrastructure to get into what are some general executive council matters and matters of policy. All right, but we're delving back into into your area of infrastructure quarries and urban development, and specific at that to the airport development project, the airport expansion project that we have heard much talk of. Quite recently, we would have seen a scenario of where it is the THA would have had to intervene with the situation with regards to the road. Has that been resolved as at today in terms of the blockage that would have been put there by the contractors versus the THA making it clear there's no authority to do that at this point?
Well, I had given your staff some slides, which I hope they would put up.
So we should have some images coming up shortly.
But,
all right.
So this is the intended area that they have purchased and acquired, or intend to acquire, for the new terminal.
All right.
I can get to the design of that in a bit. In terms of the direct question that you're asking, what has happened is that a new administration came into office in Tobago, and the NIDCO and the Ministry of Finance, despite our requests, apparently does not wish to meet with us. I got a question about whether we have written to them and asked to meet with them, and what the response was. In my world, you come into my house, you come to meet with me, you ask me to meet, not the other way around. But we have written, actually, and it is part of this feeling that you can do anything you want in Tobago. You can entreat your followers in Tobago to give away the rights to Rocky Point, so you can do whatever you want. You can entreat your followers in Tobago to ask you the cut to give away the rights to lease land to people in Trinidad without any discussion in Tobago, any consultation whatsoever, because you had a government in Trinidad and a government in Tobago of the same party. And so Tobago lost the opportunity to participate in the real governance decision that we should. If you look at the difference, we had the biggest consultation ever for the Scarborough project that we are planning to do. We are going out up front, not in hiding in some secret room, and putting an EOI out in the public. Did you hear about this marina before? Officially? No. And this is the government trying its best to circumvent the laws, circumvent the people, and to do whatever it thinks is best. And that certainly can't continue.
And I had a chance quite recently to when I heard of the issue of the blockage. The following day or two, I decided to drive through the area, and I'm now being at the point of realizing, because I heard one of the residents indicating via the news that they are still yet to be paid. And there I was thinking in my mind, it's probably one resident or so yet to be paid. And I drove through and I realized there's still a few houses in terms of occupied. Is it to suggest that those who have not yet moved from the area in those occupied houses, either all or most of them, are still yet to be paid?
Well, they're yet to be negotiated with. We have approximately 21 houses there still. Approximately 75 Tobagonians still living there, who the government has not negotiated with as yet. They have not started the negotiation under some guise that some previous government in the 1990s paid these persons forbearance for this property. And so the property is already supposedly belonging to the state, and the government apparently wants them to just leave their investments behind and go wherever they can live with whatever money they have. And I mean, the laws in the country are clear that at the very least, if you are there 17 years, you have to be considered owners of the property. So whether they would have paid money in the late 1990s, it is irrelevant and inconsequential to the decision that must be made now. You cannot start a project, a construction project, north and east of those people, and have them there while you building. That cannot happen, because the impact on the lives of those children and elderly people, they are going to be so great that we are going to lose a lot of our Tobagonians because of that construction process. And so we took a decision at Executive Council that there will be no road blockage in the area until the government has settled with those persons. There's another side issue to that we have a group of Tobagonians as well who accepted the offers of the government, but the government at the time promised that they would have lands available to them within a year. It's now almost 2 years, and the sites aren't ready. I have inherited a situation where a contractor has been there almost 18 months, the site isn't ready, and people's money are running out paying rent. As compared to those people in Oropoon who were squatting on the airport location in Trinidad that the UNC built houses for before they started. That's the difference that has been meted out to Tobagonians by persons in the government who have Tobago leanings. This government has persons there with 5 or 6 of them who have Tobago roots, you know. That's the decision the sitting cabinet to take against Tobagonians.
So what of all the talks that would have taken place in relation to Cove and I think it is Shervan, in terms of providing those as alternatives, which was obviously a THA arrangement, because we know the project at the moment is within the purview of central government. What's the status with regards to those arrangements for persons where they should have had some access to lands and so for those who were interested in taking up that part of the offer?
The arrangement between the government in Trinidad and the government in Tobago at the time was that the THA will provide these lands, will do the development for these lands, and will allow those persons to buy them. That was the arrangement. And you know that the parties in power were the same party. So you would expect that this to be seamless and executed quickly, so that you would save people the expenditure that they're going to incur. On the contrary, we are here 2 years later, and people can't move in, people can't finish their construction, people can't get approval, because the projects themselves have no approval, and we don't have final approval, and they're still ongoing.
And they're still ongoing. And we have some images.
As a matter of fact, the contractors almost demobilized from the sites.
All right, and if we could just get those images up before we wrap this morning's interview, to be able to speak to the specific images. We're seeing one here in terms of proposed.
Yeah. So if you go back to the first slide.
The first image there, right?
The NIDCO, and I heard Mr. George making a series of statements, is responsible for project managing a contract with CRCC to build this in Tobago. There's some interesting little things which I want to just point out. You see the terminal on your left, which is the existing terminal.
Right.
Look at the entryway and the exit to that terminal. And look at what they're proposing in the new building. Almost right angle turns into that area where they're going to park. Apparently, because of an intent to save CRC some concrete money, I don't know what is that. The two terminals, currently the old terminals, we can comfortably seat 3 wide-body aircraft and 4 ATRs that we have. This new terminal, they are preparing to seat 2 wide-body aircraft with an intention to expand to 3 and 7 small planes. So this is not an improvement. There are design issues with this thing that NEDCO needs to manage and probably make a statement on, since they don't want to come and talk to Trevor. Design issues. Right now, we have underground fueling at the old terminal. The new terminal has no allocation for underground fueling. So probably the NEDCO and the Ministry of Works and Transport and the Ministry of Finance in Trinidad is intending to take us back another 50 years to the 1980s, where we're going to see trucks coming with fuel-to-fuel planes. There are design issues which the NEDCO need to sort out, and I suggest they sort them out before they try to block in and kill our Tobagonians down there. If you go to the other slide.
Right, moving on to the next slide in the lineup, terminal plan.
Now, if you look at the design there, on the left, on the top left, what you're seeing is the layout for the airport. So, like I said, 2 wide-body aircraft and 7 small aircraft with the ability to expand to 3 wide-body aircraft. But critically, they've moved the terminal right up to Store Bay Local Road.
Right.
So there is no further expansion can happen here. And anybody on a motorbike in a car can drive down Store Bay Local Road and throw dynamite into the building at any time. Now the biggest, the most expensive asset that we have in the country, the American assets we have, is airplanes. That is, if that happens, and you know, this airport, we're planning this for the next 100 years. And you have traveled a lot, Julian. Mm-hmm. When you go to New York and so on, and Miami, you always see them building, don't you? They're always repairing and building and extending and upgrading the airport. That is because they have a whole master plan for the area. That is what is required. Right now, adjacent to the airport, we have fuel for all of Tobago there. An incident there, our airport is done. We need to move that away to Cove. We need to plan. And we are not planning. We're planning for 5 and 10 years. We need to plan for 100 years. This airport is going to be there for 100 years. We'll live all of us. What do we do? The better plan, I've always, since in the campaign I've been saying this, you know. If you go to the other slide.
The other slide coming up there. We would have seen some further plans there in the lineup with the other slide, right?
The one after that.
Site plan. And we're going to the next one.
After that as well.
Right, the terminal building plan.
It's in another document. Right. But the better plan would have been.
And this one is the first floor.
This is the ground floor, yes. The better plan would have been to use the existing terminal and extend it north.
So it's not an expansion of the existing terminal?
No, it's a completely new terminal. The only advantage to the new location is that it is central to the runway and may reduce taxi time. But ask yourselves, what is going to happen to the old terminal? What is it going to be used for? The better plan would have been to extend it north in that area between Store Bay Local Road and the airport road. We only have rental properties. We have 10 acres plus. We have that area opposite Spence that's their use for parking. All of that we're in front of Crown Point Hotel that goes down to that building next to opposite Tropicus. All of that area remains available, was available. That could have housed a decent enough parking area. The parking area would have been north of the terminal building, so you have space separating you from the terminal in terms of security. All of that could have been done, and They refuse to do that. For what intent, I don't know. So let me advise NEDCO, stay in your airport. You have that contract already. Stay there and do the best for Tobago. You and the Ministry of Works and Transport and the Ministry of Finance. Because we in the Assembly, we are going to ensure that the best is being done for Tobago while we are there.
So is there still room for them to get it right and to make changes at this stage?
Well, it's a design bill, and in a design bill, you know, a lot of things can happen. That's not what I will call the contract is between NEDCO and CRCC. We've asked for a copy of the contract. We have not gotten it. But there are other problems down there. On the south side of the runway, there's a slippage. Sometime soon, that runway itself can be impacted. And the NEDCO and the airports authority, apparently, I don't know where they're waiting on. So there are issues in the airport. And if we had sat down, consulted properly, we'd have come up with an entire plan for the area, whole master plan, which would allow consideration to be given to all the things that impact the airport and impact the lives of Tobagonians and the future of Tobago. We have the opportunity, because of our location, to become a transshipment point. I have people calling me wanting to run that airport for us, to bring a set of flights from Europe. I call from that now. And we have to begin to think as big as we can. Otherwise, we'll be pigeonholed, just as every development in Tobago. You can't expand the road, Milford Road, because the building is too close. You can't expand the highway because they never bought the verges properly, so you can't make a 4-lane highway. We've been pigeonholed into every aspect of our infrastructure, maybe to ensure that we can't grow. But now we have to begin to think for my grandchildren and your great-grandchildren of how we're going to live. If we have another 10,000 people in Tobago, you imagine what's happening in Scarborough?
Therefore, it speaks volumes in relation to where we are to go. And this is definitely, based on what we're hearing here from Secretary Trevor James, a call in terms of central government and NEDCO for the necessary discussions to happen so as to ensure that Tobago is not just able to benefit, but Tobago is able to derive maximum benefit from the delivery of this new airport project. So we want to thank you very much, Secretary Trevor James, for joining us here on set as we spoke to the matter related to the marina. And interestingly enough, it seems like we could have a full segment on the new international airport for Tobago. Hey, and a quick update, folks. I want to note, seeing that we have Secretary Trevor James on set, I got my official reply from the division, confirmation that they show me a road when the gentleman was on here from 211 representing, and we made the report and submission for the pothole out there on the stretch in Scarborough. Confirmation received via email for Smart, show me a road that yes, it has been dealt with, and you're seeing in and around the Tobago space. And I want to say to Secretary Trevor James, you know, to whom much is given, much is expected.
Much is expected.
So if this is the kind of energy that's happening here now, then you have to find a way financially and otherwise to ensure that it continues so that Tobago enjoys this level of comfort in terms of our road network and much more for the years to come. So commendations to the Secretary and the entire team, technical team, and so out there, 211 along with the division in terms of working with this Show Me a Road project. And therefore we look towards things like that developing even further, whereas Tobago, we get a direct involvement and not have to wait for an extended period, but we get updates along the way. All right, viewers, coming on up in the next segment, Ria would be chatting with Rhonda Thompson Benjamin, and that's counseling psychologist of Enrich Life Limited. And this morning we're speaking about how to create and maintain boundaries. All right, interesting topic here. I look forward to the details. Those of you joining us via TV, radio, and online, I want to thank you for your continued love and support. And to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Tobago in May. Prices are sweet like mango at Thorns Place. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Call now 745-7306 for our May special, starting at 200 TT at Thorns Place. Prices are sweet like mango. advertise with Tobago Updates. Call 284-6597. If you have a small or large business, we can get your information in front of the masses. Reach our rapidly growing viewership on Facebook and YouTube. Promote your brand in Trinidad and the Caribbean through M&E TV Now and Gayel. Yes, we can build unique ads for your business. Call now 284-6597 and advertise with us.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off. Are you looking for that all-in-one shopping experience? Then look no more. Visit Lamb's Best Mart for your grocery items, fruits and vegetables, drinks, home items, stationery, gift items, hampers, shopping gift cards, toiletries, small hardware items, and much more. We provide order and pickup service, even delivery to your door. We are your friendly community supermarket. Check us out today at Lamb's Best Mart, located at 22 Daniel Trace Canby, or visit us on social media at Lamb's Best Mart.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning. Good morning.
Morning, morning, morning. Viewers, welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. Oh, it's a beautiful morning here in Lower Scarborough, Tobago. Beautiful. We are chatting this morning with Mrs. Rhonda Thompson Benjamin, and she's a counseling psychologist attached to Enriched Life Limited. And we are talking about how to create and maintain boundaries. Good morning and welcome to you, Rhonda.
Good morning. Thank you so much.
It's good to have you on the program. Now, I know that, you know, for this week, you and your colleague, Mariska Thomas, were on set with us, and we were talking about stress and more about issues related to mental health. Correct. Because the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes.
All right, so this morning we're focused on boundaries. Now, first question up, when we talk about boundaries, what are we talking about? What exactly is a boundary?
When we talk about boundaries, we are referring to the limits that we set to relationships.
Right.
So when I describe boundaries, I let persons know it's like a house, and you are the owner of that house. You allow persons to enter, you allow them to leave, you allow them to stay at the door, and you determine the frequency in which they enter, the duration for their stay. So boundaries really means the limits that you set to relationships. And a person with healthy boundaries, they would be able to say no, and they would be comfortable enough to open up for healthy relationships.
Would you say boundaries, the issue of boundaries is an issue in the Caribbean?
Definitely, it is an issue, and let me tell you why. It's an issue because we are socially trained to interact with others, and especially authority figures. So even when we are younger, we are told sometimes that we should not say anything, we should not have an opinion.
Don't rock the boat.
Don't rock the boat at all, right? And sometimes we are even punished for maybe asking a question that is simple, like why? Yeah, so we find that many persons in the Caribbean, they have difficulties when it relates to managing and maintaining those boundaries.
All right. And I hear what you're saying. Now, going back to the climate and the culture of the Caribbean, we have Carnival, for instance, and it seems as though there are no boundaries for Carnival. So it's everybody could wine on a bumper, everybody could back it up on something. But when, just after Carnival, when we're back in suit and tie and we're dressed for work, this same guy we were whining down with, who was whining on a bumper, is no longer allowed to wine on the bumper. So where are the boundaries there?
Well, when we think about boundaries, we have to look at the context for boundaries. So it's important to understand that boundaries can change. In terms of Carnival, if you do not want to participate, you still have the right to say no. If this is something that you enjoy engaging with, you can do so, but understand that it creates a kind of cognitive dissonance. There is that problem there with managing those boundaries, because there are two different perspectives there.
Definitely. So why is it difficult to create and maintain these boundaries now?
It's really important because boundaries help us feel safe. Remember, we started with talking about a house, When we understand that we have a safe environment to run to or to stay, we feel safe, we feel happier, we are less anxious because we understand that we are in control of our lives, It also helps us to stay away from negative relationships because once we have established these boundaries, now it's easier to identify, okay, this is not something that I want, or this is something that I would accept. It helps us to remain calm and focus on other things because we are not so worried about the opinions of others, but because we would have already established what are our needs and how we would meet those needs.
All right. What are some of the different types of boundaries that we're talking about?
Okay, so the first type of boundary that I really want to highlight this morning is physical boundaries. So that relates to your personal space and physical touch. So sometimes persons, they come really close to you, right? But somebody may not like that. Someone may not like hugs. And in the Caribbean, we like to hug up and love up, even in the COVID period. I have seen many persons doing this.
Masked up, but we're hugging.
Yes. So it's about that personal space, and it also relates to sexual intimacy, what you would allow in those intimate relationships. And I want to talk about it because even in sex, persons are afraid to say, no, this is something that I don't enjoy. This is something that makes me feel uncomfortable. So even in the sexual space, in those intimate relationships, boundaries are very important because they help us feel safe.
Okay, why is that important? Let's talk about it.
In terms of the sexual boundaries?
In terms of the sexual boundaries.
Because when we do not set up these boundaries, we create a space for violence.
Okay, and you and I were chatting off camera just before the interview, and I shared with you one of the issues that my areas that my father shared with my sister and I when we were growing up. He said that a man does not wake up one day and just hit a woman. What he does is he starts very subtly, raises his voice, and then he may threaten to hit. And she may cower. No, Ria's not one of the... I don't cower. I have 35, you know? But it starts very subtly. I want to talk about the importance here of saying, you said it's okay to say no. Go ahead.
Yeah, so before you enter relationships, it's important that you have that internal dialogue. You know what you want for yourself, what you want for your life. So in case these issues arise, now even before they arise, you have these conversations. And I realize that persons are afraid when they are forming relationships to say their needs.
Because they want to be nice, they want to look all cute.
Yeah, but even if you want to be nice, nice is not equal to no boundaries. Yeah? So it's about expressing this in a timely manner, in an assertive and not an aggressive way. So some persons will say, you see me and man, not me and that. If you do me this. No, we are not talking about that. We are talking about relating in a calm, controlled way your needs and your desires. Yeah? So you do that before, and when you enter relationships now, you ensure that you highlight them. You bring them up. It's a continual conversation. So don't feel that you say it before the person will know. No, you say it. And even when you see an inkling of crossing of that boundary, you highlight it and you let the person know that it's unacceptable, and then deliver some level of consequence for that particular behavior.
All right, I want to talk to you about this morning about how do you respond to individuals who cross or disrespect your boundaries?
I like to say this: shut the door. And I am not a promoter of aggression in any way, right?
Shut the door.
Shut the door. Sometimes you need to move from that physical space. Sometimes we feel that we need to stand there and fight. And most persons who do not maintain boundaries, it's very difficult in any relationship. So sometimes it does not have anything to do with you personally. Yeah? They have the issue. So sometimes you just have to leave from that physical space and let the person know that this is not something that you would accept. If this is a person that continually crosses your boundaries and you realize that there is a want or a desire for change, you let them in slowly. Give them slow opportunities to prove themselves to you. So you're not accepting them fully. Okay, all right, yes, come, we're friends again. Yeah? But you give them simple opportunities and then you evaluate their progress. Yeah? So it's about being sure, being confident in your boundaries, and letting persons know those boundaries, yeah? And as I highlighted before, you have to say it. You can't expect them to mind read. So sometimes in relationships, you realize the other person upset and the other person is confused because your boundaries may not be my boundaries.
That's right. And if you don't say, your partner will never know.
You would never know. That person will never know. Yes.
All right. Now we're talking boundaries this morning, about boundaries within relationships,
yes,
as well as working relationships.
Correct.
So it could be happening even at your office,
definitely,
your workspace.
Yes.
But it's important for you to speak out.
Yes, yes. It's important for you to speak out, and do not create the pattern where your colleagues already know, your employer, that person knows that they could press your boundaries. If you are entering into a new job, establish your boundaries immediately
from the get-go.
Yeah? Definitely. So let them know, okay, this is what is in my contract. I would work really hard for this company. But after 4 or after 5, that is when I just want to cool out so I could come refreshed the following day to get the activities done.
I like how you said it.
Yeah, so you want to be able to, even with authority figures, be confident to be able to express yourself and let them know what you will accept and what you will not accept.
That's right, what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept.
Yes, correct.
Now let me ask you here very quickly, how can persons who are interested in receiving some of these services, because I mean, persons have issues,
yes,
and sometimes they just need a guide or some guidance to, channel them in the right direction,
yes,
to be able to work it out.
Yes.
How can they contact you at Enriched Life Limited, and some of the numbers to call if they need more info?
Okay, so you can call 757-9963. That is Enriched Life Limited. You could follow us on Instagram at Enriched Life Limited, and also research us online, enrichedlifelimited.com. And if you are in a domestic situation, you need help, you can call 800-SAVE. 800-SAVE, that is the domestic violence hotline.
Oh my goodness, Rhonda Thompson Benjamin, it was a pleasure interviewing you this morning.
Thank you.
Persons on the live are saying, wow, this woman is really passionate about what she does.
Thank you.
It was awesome. Viewers, thank you so much for joining us for this segment. We've got lots more coming up on the Tobago Updates morning show. Remember to share the live, share the live, share the live.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
This day in Tobago history. Did you know that on the 14th day of May 1733, Spain seized 2 British sloops with 5 enslaved Africans aboard from what was then known as Hog's Bay in Tobago? According to Douglas Archibald's Tobago Melancholy Isle, 289 years ago tomorrow, the boats of Richard Crawdon and John Ridley, 2 mariners out of Barbados, were confiscated by a Spanish commander known only as Simbrianus. On the day in question, the sloops, one named Industry, with a crew of 8, which included 5 enslaved Africans together with the other sloop named Endeavour, were anchored at what was then called Hog's Bay. Interesting is that in the 18th century, Hillsborough Bay and Barbados Bay in Tobago were known together as Fat Hog Bay. Carapace Bay to the east was once called Great Hog Bay, and Kings Bay, which would be further east, was once called Little Hogs Bay. Likely, the boats were anchored somewhere between Barbados and Hillsborough. Richard Crawdon, who was of St. Michael's, Barbados, was the only co-owner present on the sloops at the time of the event. He was on the Industry, while the Endeavour was commanded by one John Posland. A Spanish sloop, the Row Galley, with a crew of 85 men, entered the bay. Its commander, Simbrianus, seized the 2 sloops, stripped the crew of their clothing, then put them ashore. Crawdon protested, asking whether there was war with Spain. Simbrianus responded that it was not the time to dispute the matter. He further stated that his instructions from the then governor of Puerto Rico, Lieutenant Colonel Matias de Abadia, permitted him to take and destroy all English vessels he may come upon. Simbrianus then sailed for the island of Margarita with the 2 sloops, the 5 enslaved Africans, Posland and Crawdon in tow. The governor of Margarita, however, refused to condemn the sloops, declaring that his instructions did not permit him to do so. Notwithstanding, the governor refused to return the sloops to their owner until the matter could be settled by trial at Puerto Rico. Simbrianus then issued a threat that any person the governor shall send with the sloops to Puerto Rico would be drowned during the passage by Simbrianus himself, or put on shore on a desolate island. Simbrianus may not have been insincere in his thinking that by the governor of Puerto Rico's instructions, the sloops should be destroyed. In fact, Governor Matias de Abadia of Puerto Rico assumed the position in 1731, and since that time he began to gain a reputation for not respecting the peace between England and Spain. He also simultaneously fanned the flames of the rivalry between English and Spanish smugglers. The exchange between Simbrianus and the governor of Margarita convinced Crawdon that he needed to make good his escape from the island if he was to have his sloops. He fled and made his way back to Barbados. He arrived there just 45 days after first being taken from Tobago. He reported the incident to then Governor Lord Howe. However, at the date Crawdon made the complaint, there was little Lord Howe could do except to make a request for one Captain Reddish of the HMS Fox to go to Margarita and lodge a formal protest there for the return of the sloops. This course of action was taken because the governor of Margarita offered to return the sloops if demanded by an English man of war before the trial was over at Puerto Rico. You've been watching This Day in Tobago History. My name is Devon Adana. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Devon Adana, there, giving us those insights this day in Tobago history. And this segment so greatly appreciated by many within the Tobago space in Trinidad, the region, and the world at large. As some have said to me very nicely, I didn't even know until Devon spoke about it as a gentle reminder there to us. We're heading straight on in at this moment, viewers, to the next segment, and we should have online with us at this point. Let me make sure I have the name correct. This is Badadan, recording artist joining us on set here this morning. Morning to you. Are you hearing us on that?
Yeah, morning.
All right, excellent. So this morning we are chatting in relation to recording artist Baba Dan. And probably let me ask you to give us a little insight into the name in the first instance that is chosen as a recording artist.
No, that name was given to me from birth, from I was a baby, you understand? So they used to call me Baba because I couldn't say Papa. I used to call my father Papa, and I couldn't have problem saying that. So they stick that name on me from small, and the Dan just come with being the artist as time go by.
All right. So you're born Sheldon Taylor, yes? Born Sheldon Taylor. You're Trinidadian dancehall artist, singer, and songwriter from Digo Martin. All right. So tell us about some of your earlier music before we get into what your recent release. So tell us about some of the music that you would have produced earlier on in your career.
Well, my first single I did was My Girl, that 2016. And son had a couple of songs, along the way. I had quite a few, and just life, how life is sometimes. Took a break, to really find yourself, and sometimes artists really got to have to do that to, reflect on what kind of artist you want to really be, from the artist at the moment. So that was just taking a break and coming back now to do something different and more on the positive side of things.
Tell me, how particularly would the pandemic period have affected you as an artist? Did it give you enough time within to be able to build out your craft in terms of writing and so on, recording? Or did it have more of a negative impact? Just give us a sense. How was it for you as a recording artist?
Well, both negative and positive, but you had a lot of time to reflect too, son, with things that going on today. Son, a lot of time to reflect. So that is what led me to being the type of artist that I am this present time, through the things that you're seeing, is that you experience in your life personally. It really make me realize what's going on. Up your writing skills, the world, Trinidad and Tobago need positive. They need artists to spread that message more. Understand? So it was good on that part of it,
Well, I want to know what inspires you. I mean, every artist has some type of muse, some different inspiration. What inspires you and your music?
Well, my family, my children, that is really my inspiration, and the love for it. The love for it. Originally was a footballer. Always used to, do music too from small. Understand? But yeah.
All right.
Children
Life goes on. We give us some info. What are persons to expect? We'll have it up shortly, but give us a little bit into what's behind Life Goes On.
A true story, I should say. Things that I experienced in my life, and it relatable that everybody, every citizen, every person in the world could relate to it, because we all go through struggles, and we all just have to remember, no matter what go on, life goes on. You understand? Yeah, don't hold strong. No matter what situation, what you might be in, you know? So it's really a true story, things that I experienced in my life personally.
Where would this have been recorded? What are some of the areas and images we'll be able to see?
Sorry?
What are some of the areas and images in terms of where it's recording? We're seeing some on screen at the moment.
Yeah. Took some, you know. That is we're seeing on the screen, you know, that is home by me, where I born and grow, you know, Fort George, you know, different locations, you know. This particular here is home by me, you know, that is home by me.
And we just saw some out there on the fort. What area you are showcasing there? What fort is that?
Fort George.
Right.
That is beautiful. And is this your are those shots of your mommy?
Yeah, well, that is my sister actually playing my mother, but my mother and father passed away.
Okay.
You know, so
Close enough.
So she was close enough. Yeah.
Those
So
are
it was really
beautiful
about the
shots.
family connection as well. Tell us a little bit about that. In an industry like this, how important it is to have that family support as a recording artist.
Very, 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 very important. To be honest, it's very important. My family support me 101%. They push me. Son, yeah, it's very important for you to have that kind of backing.
By name, so feel free. This is your opportunity to give a little shout out to them by name.
Huh? Sorry?
This is your opportunity to give a shout out to them by name. I know you might be able to call all.
Nah, yeah, well, I can't call all, but you know, I know the watcher, I know the locked in, you know, my sisters, my brothers, you know, my children, Soraya, Gabriel, Jaden, you know, yeah, plenty, too much to call, too much.
The children or the family?
The family.
She put it in place. She put it in place.
Thank you so much. And what about you, very quickly here, your producer, you know, about your producer a little bit. Who did the producer in the
My
video
producer?
production?
Yeah, well, my producer for Z, Rion Elbon. I know if you're supposed to know about Rion Elbon, you know that Salute is they're under the Salute banner. You know, Salute is a record label, US based, and I am one of the artists signed on the label. So these are the guys that, you know, behind the magic. Rion Elbon, Fort Z, these fellas is very hardworking, Jazzy Blaze, you know. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And we want to continue to encourage you to be an inspiration even to those to come that look up to you, you know, in terms of the work that you're doing as somebody coming out from the community. All right. Thank you very much again for joining us on set here this morning. Ria, it's been a beautiful morning.
A beautiful morning indeed. And again, I must say TGIF.
Yes.
Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday indeed. But I can't help in this closing segment to refer to Rhonda. And that was an interesting interview, Ria.
I tell you.
Rhonda Thompson Benjamin. And I'm hoping we'll have some, you know, that's an interesting interview in terms of the discussion with boundaries.
I want you to pose that question to the public, to our viewers.
Viewers, you know, the thinking has generally been, you know, sometimes as men, we have needs and we aren't as emotionally strong as women may be. We got to get Rhonda and the team to tell us how do we deal with that as men when these boundaries are set, but we are not as strong, and we want to be there just for you, ladies, just for you.
Excuses.
Ria, what do we do?
You stick to the boundaries. Stick. You know, it's a men versus women in studio at this point. Stick to the boundaries. We're all safer when we stick to the boundaries. And you know, life is sometimes unfair.
It's an early discussion you have to have in relationships.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That a lot of persons are afraid to talk about because they want to look all cute. They want to come across really nice. So you don't rock the boat.
Because I'm also interested to get a perspective where people seem to put a higher percentage or a higher value on communication over physical interaction. And I don't know, I feel like there should be some levels of equality. Physical interaction is important, communication is important.
You don't go into a relationship just to talk.
Exactly, financial support is important. And that's especially when you're Mayborn. You don't just go into a relationship to talk. I'm just saying.
What are we going to do with Julian? What are we going to do with Julian? Well, you know, we've got to leave it there. Our director is saying it's time to go.
Yes.
So
just before we head on over, we're going to be heading on over to GMT Good Morning Tobago with Candice and Denise here. All right. And we thank each and every one of you so much. And I know I see Dr. Crystal Benjamin is on. Yes, we want to hear about these things, you know.
Definitely. Yeah. We've seen the director there walking, pacing, and ready for us to go. So we've got to say goodbye to Tobago and Trinidad, our viewers. Thank you so much for joining us this week. It was a pleasure being able to serve you. And we trust that you stay safe. We'll see you on Monday. Remember to wear your mask, sanitize, and socially distance.
Look out for the video up now. Life goes on. Bye-bye, folks.
And the wolf in sheep clothing. Salute. Sometimes you don't know what to do, but Father God deliver through. Emotions and me feeling blue, but me never give up though me know some people want me to. With a heart full of anger, God will make me stronger. Better days me ask for. Fight the fight with me big to them, God first, mankind after. Pray for me family them, Father please give them strength. Though the time it vigilant with excellent, we guide them stepping everywhere. Yeah, me say protect them from the enemy. Gotta keep holding on, gotta keep holding strong. Gotta keep holding on, gotta keep holding strong. No matter the hard time and all of the bad times, so life goes on. Although the journey is long, me I beg you please hold strong. I know there'll be sad time and there will be bad time, but life goes on. Although the journey is long, me I beg you please hold strong. Yeah, them try to set me up, call me name to the cup. Why them try to do me that? Try to get me evil up, try their best me conquer that. Mama prayer got me up, no you cannot play with that. Son born and me father gone, but you know see me I live on. Through all the fight and the pain, Jah guide me see each and every day, no man. Pray for me family them, Father please give them strength. Though the time it vigilant with excellent, we guide them stepping everywhere. Yeah, me say protect them from the enemy. Gotta keep holding on, gotta keep holding strong. Gotta keep holding on, gotta keep holding strong.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Tobago in May. Prices are sweet like mango. At Thorns Place, Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Call now 745-7306 for our May special, starting at 200 TT at Thorns Place. Prices are sweet like mango.
Wake up with Candace and Denise. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hail my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones.
Tobago Carnival Committee yet to be announced.
Tatco's product to be exported to Grenada.
Man confesses to killing 2-year-old Kamani Francis.
And in sports, Darren Douglas wins a second bronze medal at the Caribbean Youth Table Tennis Championships.
Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago. I am Candace Jackson.
And I am Denise Demsa. It is Friday, 13th May 2022. Let's get into our top story.
Tobago stands to lose out if the Committee for Carnival or the schedule of events are not released soon.
Stakeholders are saying there is a massive interest in the Tobago Carnival scheduled for October 28th to 30th, but the time is running out.
THA promised to announce the committee this week, but there has been silence on the matter.
Here is more in this report.
Secretary Farley Augustine told Tobago Update that the Carnival Committee will be released the next week. It was not. On mandate Monday, April 4th, Secretary for Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Tashia Barris, announced the Tobago Carnival is set for October 28th to the 30th. She said the committee will soon be announced. It was not. Tobago Updates questioned her about the committee and the schedule of events on May 5th.
The committee will be announced next week, right? We will actually be putting together something of a press conference where we will announce the committee.
At the end of the week, it has not been announced.
We will allow persons to ask questions and that kind of thing because we recognize that there might be some speculation going on in this space.
No communication has yet been issued to the media regarding such a press conference. The continued delay of the organization committee is worrying stakeholders. President of the Tobago Promoters Association, Erlen Clark, says they are concerned.
In July, Carnival band launch starts in Trinidad. So once band launches in Trinidad, the focus now moves to the Trinidad market. So we're really hoping that they move forward quickly.
Additionally, Caribbean neighbors are eager to host their own carnivals to capitalize on the post-pandemic market.
Guyana is having a carnival the early part of October, and they already have a calendar events out and interest is growing there. So more or less, really and truly, the mecca of carnival in the world is Trinidad, and everyone know, well, once you say Trinidad, you say Tobago, so people are very interested and enthused to come to this space.
Chairman of the Tobago region of the National Carnival Bandleaders Association, Terence Sandiford, is trying to seek a meeting with the secretary to understand the plan and make proposals, but to no avail.
3 weeks now.
Right.
To have a meeting with her to express our version as to how the Tobago Carnival should go. We are yet to receive a reply.
Similar complaints were received by Tobago Updates from other stakeholders. Clark says if the THA waits too long to produce plans, the island stands to lose $50 million in revenue. But there remains a chance for redemption.
Even if we do miss the boat, definitely what it would give us is for us to go back to the table, really plan 2023. If it is that they come out and they said, you know, there's difficulties in moving forward, 2023 we can create a committee that will be able to market the carnival for 2023.
With the Tobago Carnival dates already announced, the expectations are high. However, Clark says if the THA waits any longer to release details for the Tobago Carnival, they will lose the interest of the Trinidad and international markets. For Tobago Updates, I am Candace Jackson.
On to some other news, the THA will be writing to NITCO on another matter, that of the lands being used to construct the new airport terminal. This stemmed from an incident last week where contractors attempted to block the road in Cromson Straits, Bunaccord, where residents are still trying to finalize negotiations for land acquisition. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine was forced to intervene and remove the blockage from the road. The THA is warning NITCO that no resident should be blocked until their negotiations are settled. Additionally, the THA wants to contest ownership of the lands. Secretary of Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development Trevor James says all lands are vested in control of the THA and he wants to see what arrangements was made for the use of lands.
We're going to write it again that we are willing to meet in terms of the airport project. We will request a copy of the contract with CRCC, between CRCC and NITCO. We want to request an official copy of the designs that CRCC has put forward, because we believe that all the lands that the state acquire in Crown Point legally belong to the people of Tobago.
James says previous attempts were made to meet with NITCO over this matter, but it was unsuccessful. They were instead advised that it was the decision of the Ministry of Finance, Colum Imbert, to meet with the THA.
Turning now to some news of agriculture. Some of Tobago's agricultural products will soon be made available in Grenada for sale. Secretary of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainability, Natisha Charles Panton, posted on her Facebook page that TATCO has signed off on a deal with Grenadian conglomerate Huggins to put at least 3 of Tobago's products on their shelves. These products are cassava waffle mix, plantain pancake mix, and dasheen cereal. They will be available on Grenadian shelves in 2 to 3 months' time. Charles Panton says she is very proud of this achievement as TATCO is on its path to taking its gluten-free, plant-based breakfast options to the world. Charles Panton was also in Birmingham 2 weeks ago, where they are trying to tap into the UK market with these products.
Taking a look at the tourism sector, owners of small guest houses will engage in a workshop hosted by the Inter-American Development Bank earlier this week. The workshop was geared towards building a reputable brand in the tourism market. Here is more in this report.
As the world begins to move out of the COVID-19 pandemic, there is no better time for small properties and boutique hotels to establish themselves in the industry, according to Minister of Planning and Development, Penelope Beckles.
The time is right. We are on the cusp of a wave in the tourism industry where small businesses have the opportunity to carve deeper niches for themselves.
Speaking on behalf of the THA, Secretary for Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Tasha Burris, wants Tobago's tourism industry to have a healthy crop of boutique hotels and small guest houses.
I am eager to see an increase in the number of hotel boutique properties that value their brand and reputation, and also strive to offer outstanding visitor experiences that benefit both the individual property and the island by extension.
The IDB's willingness to help small properties build their brand is comforting to Burris, as the THA seeks to navigate reviving the tourism industry.
It is a positive signal that there is still confidence in Destination Tobago and our stakeholders. The road to 100,000 will be made much easier to navigate because of efforts like these, which seek to elevate and empower local tourism stakeholders.
Director of Surveillance, Disease Prevention and Control Division in the IDB, Dr. Lisa Indar, says part of building a reputable brand is knowing how to establish and market a property with best health practices.
We are now building back. We are trying to achieve resilience and sustainability. And as a small business, you need to have a marketing advantage. And we believe that the Tourism and Health Program, the whole issue of online and digital innovation can give you that advantage.
The Small Properties Branding Tourism Workshop is part of a series of projects
the IDB is conducted in Tobago this week. For Tobago Updates, I am Candace Jackson.
Turning now to some national news. A man has confessed to the killing of 2-year-old Kamani Francis. In this latest and interesting turn of events, the man reportedly walked into the Point Fortin police station at 12:45 p.m. yesterday and confessed to killing the child. Police said he did not identify the child by name or gender and did not provide details as yet about the murder. He is said to be an outpatient of the psychiatric clinic and lives in Tekia Village, Point Fortin, not far away from the home of the toddler. Police detained the man and are continuing investigations. Kamani wandered away from his home on Monday. He was spotted by a neighbor dressed in only a diaper and barefooted before disappearing. The toddler's body was then found the next day in the Guapo River after a massive search party was launched to find him. The boy's family is still awaiting an autopsy to be done on his body.
Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley describes the crime situation in the country as unusually horrendous when questioned at yesterday's post-cabinet media briefing.
I can't recall a period of time, a matter of weeks, seeing the viciousness of crime, frequency of crime in and among family members, out on the street.
Dr. Rowley says it is almost as though some citizens are attempting to validate the belief that Trinidad is a violent place.
Some of the crime that is, coming at us on an hourly basis, a lot of it, you have to ask yourself, what are these people thinking? And those who pretend to know before they think and do it, this is fooling you. We have serious social difficulties in this country.
While the Prime Minister believes there is more that can be done to bring down the crime rate, he says there appears to be a breakdown in the institution of the family, which is in the heart of the problem. He also dismissed the notion that the COVID-19 pandemic is the source of the recent crime surge.
But again, before COVID, we had similar kind of behavior. So we can't blame COVID. Let us not take that shortcut. COVID must have contributed to some of the anxiety and so on. But it's not an escape hatch.
Dr. Rowley is holding out hope that families can pause to reflect on the situation and try to mend the brokenness to prevent children from growing up to be criminals.
Find out about which young Tobagonian is achieving bronze medals for the country when we return with sport after the break.
I'm Patricia Nicholson-Richards.
Welcome to Tobago Update Sports. I'm your boy Marcus Daniel. Thank you.
Trinidad and looms
as remains when the public is made. Nobody lives here. Oil and gas exploration continues to affect the livelihood.
Speyside Marine Industry.
Tobago fishermen. When will the
Sion Francis
hospital be fully functional? Of the 5 a.m. to 12 p.m. window at the treasures, like the golden waterfall,
to rise in Tobago.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago. Turning now to sports. A second bronze medal was captured by Tobagonian Darren Douglas at the Caribbean Youth Table Tennis Championships. The 6-day competition recently concluded in the Dominican Republic. Douglas was part of the 15-member national team. He competed in the boys under-19 singles competition where he placed third. Douglas, who hails from the Signal Hill, recently spent a month in Portugal preparing for the competition, and it seems to have paid off. We at Tobago Updates certainly want to celebrate with and congratulate Douglas on such an achievement.
From news of table tennis to triathlons. The above average fitness is getting ready to host their first triathlon in Tobago. Owner Endu Bishi Hall explains that the triathlon will take place in Buku on Saturday, May 14th from 6:30 a.m. The routes will not be as long as the famous Rainbow Cup and other Olympic-style triathlons, but Hall says it will be intense.
This triathlon only has the sprint distance consisting of the swim, which is 750 meters, the ride, which is 20 kilometers, and the run, which is 5 kilometers.
The above fitness triathlon will be hosted 2 weeks ahead of the Rainbow Cup. In fact, Hall is collaborating with event coordinator for the Rainbow Cup, Jason Goddard, to pull it off.
He had a lot to do with this event also, you know, talking to me about how events would go and what to expect, and, you know, making sure that things go well. This is somewhat, what can you say, somewhat of a warm-up to the Rainbow Cup, and also this event is also being used for the athletes to go to the timings to go to the Commonwealth Games.
Some of the prolific athletes expected to take part in Saturday's event are Liam Thorpe, Jason Castillo, Mark London, and more. He wants to develop the event to encourage students to get involved in the sport. Interested athletes can register through the above average fitness social media pages, or they can register at the Buku Integrated Facility on the morning of the event.
Moving away from sport and into the weather. For the period today until tonight, mostly sunny conditions are expected. During the day, it will be hot and at times breezy apart from the chance of 1 or 2 brief showers. The conditions are expected to be mostly fair overnight. Winds are east, northeast, east-south, east at a maximum of 40 kilometers per hour. Seas are slight to moderate with waves between 1.5 meters and 2 meters in open waters and below 1 meter in sheltered areas. Temperatures are expected to get up to 32 degrees Celsius during the day and dip down to 25 degrees Celsius at night. The sun will set at 6:18 p.m. today.
Let's recap the headlines. Tobago Carnival Committee yet to be announced.
Tatco's product to be exported to Grenada.
Man confesses to killing 2-year-old Kamani Francis.
And in sports, Darren Douglas wins the 2nd bronze medal at the Caribbean Youth Table Tennis Championships.
And that's it for news for this morning, but join us again at 7:30 p.m. tonight where we have more news for you. But Denisia, well, we have the weather report saying that it's going to be sunny today, but we see we have rain. So, I mean, I think the TNT Meteorological Office got it a little bit wrong.
They were a bit off this morning because it started earlier this morning and it was heavy. I'm not sure if it was heavy by you, but it was really, really heavy, and then it prolonged to this morning because I got a little bit of trouble getting up this morning because it's been a while since you've had rain like that.
And the rain makes you want to sleep.
And the rain makes you want to sleep. And not only that, with the hot temperatures that we are experiencing these days, the rain kind of helps calm you and soothe you, cool you down a little bit. So I'm very happy that we are going to get some rain. Hopefully it would prolong during the day and into the night because the days are really hot.
And as you mentioned about the days being really hot, I mean, what we've been experiencing recently is a bit of a heat wave, but not an elaborate, not a very intense heat wave, but enough so that it is feeling extra hot. I mean, the temperatures are about 31 degrees, 32 degrees, but what we're seeing is that it's feeling a lot more, like up to 34 degrees, you know, together with the humidity and that sort of thing. So moving on now to some of the news that we have in store today. I mean, we had Secretary James for Infrastructure, Quarries and Urban Development. He was on this morning speaking about the airport and what's been happening there, and you know, raising some concerns about the design of the airport that's being presented, whether or not, you know, planes would be able to effectively navigate through this new route to the new terminal and that sort of thing.
Yes, it's an interesting development, and what I would say to this is, I remember a couple years ago when they were doing over the highway, right? Somebody said to me, well, they were having a conversation about this, and they were saying, you know, Tobago we don't really think long term, because had we thought about certain situations before, because when you look at the buildings, right, they're really, really close to the road. So it prevents, and that is what he said with Milford, you know, you can't really extend or do anything because there are people or buildings, homes that are really, really close to the road, and you don't want to extend too much because it might mean somebody's yard.
And then it begs the question, did the government intend to move those other people out there? And is it that you just have not come to the public yet because of how much controversy this set of land acquisition has caused the government? You know, those are some questions that, you know, remain to be answered, and we're gonna see. I mean, we definitely know there'll be more people that would be affected by land acquisitions, because when they have to construct a road which is supposed to go from the Sherburne traffic lights to the airport, that there's going to be a number of people that will have to be displaced. So we have to go through the same process over again. But the secretary this morning said that he's given that commitment that to try to ensure that any other land acquisitions that has to take place will be done in a more comforting manner, I guess they could use that word, because of what has happened recently with those people in One Accord.
But we'll be definitely playing a close eye to see what is the development out of this story. It's a lot of back and forth, so hopefully we'll get some kind of concrete decision about what is going to happen in the near future. But tell them what we're going to have today on our show.
All right, so today we'll be talking with Mrs. Bernice Antoine, who is the co-chairman of UNFPA Youth Advisory Group. And we're going to be talking about the Gender-Based Violence and Me conference that is coming up tomorrow. Good morning to you.
Hi, great morning. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you.
All right, thank you for joining us. And tell me a little bit about the conference tomorrow.
Okay, the conference tomorrow between Mrs. Gerald, Mrs. Champion, and like Champion and young persons across the Caribbean. The aim of this initiative is to, one, bring up the concerns of young persons as it relates to gender-based violence. You have seen it yourself that gender-based violence continues to be a prominent issue devastating our country, and it definitely affects young persons. So the purpose of this initiative is to bring about a discussion where we could highlight the concerns of young persons, but also work towards tangible recommendations and solutions. And this is being facilitated by Mrs. Rowley, the National Spotlight Champion. And so it would also feature participants from around the Caribbean. So it isn't just from persons from Trinidad and Tobago. We do want to have that regional perspective. So we have been engaging regional bodies to ensure that the discussion that we come up with, it's broad, it's diverse, and of course it's inclusive, because we want the views of different young persons as well. So that was really important that we engaged several bodies in this initiative.
I know there has been an issue with young persons wanting to speak out, because when you do raise a concern, or you may have a concern that you want to be highlighted, there isn't no action taken after that. So it begs one to question, why speak out? What do you have to say about that?
I think that tokenism is very big in youth. You develop a whole way where persons are engaged for their ideas and their proposals and their solutions. However, they aren't necessarily involved at the end. So my recommendation is that for young persons, on behalf of young persons, is that young persons is our time for us to build our tables. You know, if we want to see something tangible change in Trinidad and Tobago, we have to be the ones to facilitate those changes. Understand that you are a leader. You don't have to have a position or a title or, whole organizations. Once you're able to come together as a community, you can build a table. In terms of the adults, because I do understand, like, with the intergenerational dialogue is so very important if we want to achieve that sustainable. So for us, want to engage young persons and to ensure that the engagement is not tokenistic, you have to engage young persons from the beginning process, so in the planning process, duration, as panelists and speakers, but also at the end. Young persons want a goal plan. They want, this is the next step. You identified your concerns. This is the next step, and this is how we'll be working together in order to achieve it. So just my recommendations for young persons, work towards building your table as well as adults, because intergenerational dialogue is so very important, which is why I'm so excited for this conversation that's happening tomorrow, because it's exactly that. It is us bringing up our concerns, but also what are the recommendations? How can we pull the future of Trinidad and Tobago forward as as together as a community? So I definitely look forward to the next steps, even after the 14th, which is tomorrow.
Okay, great. Now, one of the things the Prime Minister said yesterday in regards to the crime situation is that we have a breakdown in the family, and we have a disconnect between children being little angels when they are growing up to the point where they get to an adult, and then they turn to these criminals. They exhibit these social deviant behaviors that results in a lot of the crime, a lot of the violence that we're seeing in relationships and so on. What is your perspective on this?
I do agree. I see that a lot of times it really starts from a breakdown in family, as looking at gender-based violence. It's such a complex issue because it intersects with so many other things. Gender-based violence and rape culture intersects with climate change and poverty and this. I do agree that, the breakdown in family is a major cause to, what we're seeing in gender-based violence, because there's a cycle of violence where if you see your mother hit your father or your father hits your mother, you think that's normal and that's normalized to you. And actually a study was done where persons that grew up in a violent household are actually more likely to seek out violent partners. So that cycle also continues. But what I would say is that we have to recognize the different societal institutions that are responsible for the development of a child. Yes, family is so very important because you get your core values in terms of friendship and community from your family. But we also must recognize that young persons spend a large amount of time in schools, the religious sector, different governmental institutions, NGOs. So we as a society, we have to recognize the part that we play in the development of a child, in the holistic development of a child, and work towards solving what is the root issue. And oftentimes, sometimes, it's poverty is the root of violence. So we have to we can't just blame it on families or blame it on schools or blame it on the religious sector. We all have to take up our mantle and say, okay, this is a problem. We all have a part to play in it. Let's work towards it. Because a lot of the things, a big issue that we're having right now is the implementation gap, where in our boardrooms we're speaking about how can we reduce gender-based violence, but it's actually in the grassroots community. These persons have to adopt a culture change and a culture shift and a paradigm shift, because gender-based violence starts with the way you think and the way you talk about gender-based violence. So that's what I would have to say with it. Yes, it's a breakdown of family, but it's also different institutions. And NGOs are doing amazing with educational campaigns, the use of social media as well to engage young persons about what is gender-based violence, what is rape culture, how can you, am I a victim of gender-based violence? Am I a perpetrator of gender-based violence? So I do see, and the same, but I also do want to recognize the work of different organizations that are working towards reducing gender-based violence.
It's interesting that you made the mention of sometimes when you are in a violent home, sometimes you seek a violent partner. And with the situation happening recently with a lot of women, sometimes young women being murdered by their partner, what would you say on that? Or what could you say could be prevented, or how we could change the scenario, what we could do differently about a situation like that?
I think the first thing I would have to say is that please, when these situations, these unfortunate situations occur, please do not blame the woman in the situation. Okay, why she didn't leave? Understand that gender-based violence starts with your mind. Like when a woman is in a violent situation, a gender-based violence, domestic violence situation, and you ask her, okay, why didn't you leave? You're placing the blame of the domestic violence on the woman instead of the perpetrator. So that's the first thing I would say as a society. We have to do a better job of when persons are saying, I'm in a violent situation, and then the first thing is, okay, but why you don't leave? Like, what? That's not something we as a society have to work towards. And again, in terms of preventing the situations, education is so very important. recently I would have had the opportunity to do an education campaign in rural Mearu. Just speaking to different community members about like, are you aware of some of the ways you can reduce gender-based violence? And they were really keen on hearing the information in terms of, okay, they know they have to, they know they have to talk to a counselor, but then the next step. So yes, we have to educate persons as well as survivors of gender-based violence and just a society in a whole on reducing gender-based violence, but also as equally, we have to provide the resources that make it appropriate for women to leave domestic violence situations. Domestic violence, to leave that kind of situation is very, very difficult. So we need to provide them with the resources because a lot of times their partners controlling their finances, etc., etc. So we have to also provide them with resources. We have to educate society, and that has to start from the early level. It has to start in our schools. It has to start in our homes. It has to be us coming together as a nation and taking a stand against gender-based violence in our churches, in our schools, in our governmental offices, on social media. We have to say, we as a culture is not tolerating domestic violence against women. So that when a woman says, or when a man says, listen, I am in a domestic violence situation, that we take them very serious. Two, we know where to access resources for them. It's very important that we are aware ourselves, even though we're not in situations, that we know where, okay, this is what you could do. This is who you could call. This is, the police station number. If you need to support, I know this specific NGO that is dealing specifically with domestic violence situations. I think it's absolutely terrible what's happening with, the situation in domestic violence, and young women across the nation are feeling it. And, in some way, a young woman is impacted, a woman is impacted, because now we have to limit our ability to go different places and, just limit our economic opportunities. And so, again, just bringing it back to the conversation that we're having tomorrow with Mrs. Rowley, I'm really, really excited to hear her perspective because, she has been doing amazing work with the Spotlight Initiative, which is the largest unprecedented initiative to end violence against women and girls. And so we'll be discussing these issues in terms of how to end gender-based violence, what are the specific concerns young persons are facing, and what are our tangible recommendations. Some yesterday, but of course you'll be joined by dynamic, exhilarating panelists, and I know for sure that they deliver in terms of the recommendations that we have to do as a country. But thank you so much for that excellent question.
All right. Well, as we're about to wrap up, I just want you to give our viewers who are interested, how can they get involved in tomorrow's conference?
Instagram page or Facebook page, and you can register, link in the bio. There's actually right on the screen, I'm seeing it being displayed right at the bottom. You could register for it to be viewed. Please, please, please share it. Bring your perspectives, bring your views, bring your recommendations. This is very important that we come together and work towards this issue in Trinidad and Tobago. So that's what I would say in terms of getting that information. You could sign up for the link in our in the bio at ICANN on Instagram, on Facebook. The link is there as well.
All right, great. I want to thank you so much, Miss Antoine, for joining us. And I want to wish you guys best of luck on your conference tomorrow. And if you are interested, get involved. Just get the link, be a part of the conversations, and let's see if we can find solutions going forward to lessen these incidents and these reports of gender-based violence. We've had four murders this week.
Yeah, and
four
it's
women.
Terrible. I mean, it was always terrible, but it's getting a little bit ridiculous now, and it makes you very uneasy. It makes you very cautious. You're not sure who to trust. You're looking at everybody's sad eye. It's a very uncomfortable position to be in. And like she said, sometimes when you see women in these situations, and remember I said this earlier in the week, it's not to buff them and say, why leave? Why are you still staying? It's to support them because they themselves going through trauma and they don't need persons to belittle them or to come down heavy on them, but rather to stand with them and to help them. And she did say, when they come and they make a report or they say, well, hey, I'm in a situation where I'm being abused, to take it seriously and not try to
And I hope that with all these incidents that have been happening this week, you know, the police can look at the way how they've been handling everything and be able to, you know, to treat with these reports better, so that when a woman does make this report, that there isn't that chance that even though she has a restraining order and so on, you know, that it actually works. Because what we're seeing here, a lot of these women, they made reports this week. They made reports. They have several reports to the police, and yet they still lost their lives. So we hope that, you know, maybe we can find solutions, and that's why we need to have more conversations like this, like the one that's happening tomorrow, so that we can all work together as a society to find solutions to this problem, and we can eliminate gender-based violence and just crime in general.
Yes, and we want to also highlight once again, for persons who are interested in the conference tomorrow, you can send an email to iconspotlight@gmail.com or call Miss Lois Leslie at 639-7970 for more information. We really want persons to come out and support and be a part of this amazing experience and conversation as to what are the concerns of young persons and how we could go about finding recommendations and solutions to those specific concerns. So we want to encourage you to come out and support. You don't want to miss this. You want to be a part of the conversation. You know, if we want change, we have to be a part of the change.
All right, and that's a great word. So Denise, that's it from us today on this rainy Friday morning.
It's Friday, it's the weekend.
All right, so I just want to wish you all a very happy and productive day, and, you know, a wonderful, relaxing weekend.
And as I say always, stay safe, keep smiling, do enjoy your day. It's the weekend, so make sure that whatever you do, be safe. As always, the devil is out there and he's roaming day and night, night and day. So be safe, guys. Have a good one. Bye.